Hey, what's going on, guys, and welcome into Command Point. My name's Ryan, and in today's video, I'm going to be taking a look at the new Tempestus Aqualon kill team that you're going to find in the new Kill Team Hivestorm starter set. So without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, so in terms of operatives and their archetypes, they have Recon and Seek and Destroy. For operatives, they have the Tempestor, who can either take a Hotshot Las Pistol and Power Weapon, or a Relic Bolt Pistol and Chainsword, or a Hotshot Las Carbine and Fists. And then you can take 9 operatives selected from the following list: Grenadier, Gunfighter, Gunner with Melta Carbine and Fist, Gunner with Plasma Carbine and Fist, Marksman, Precursor, Servo Sentry with one of the following options: Flamer, Grenade Launcher, or Hotshot Volley Gun, and Trooper. Other than Trooper operatives, your kill team can only include each operative above once. And for the Gunner with Melta Carbine, Gunner with Plasma Carbine, Marksman, and Servo Sentry, you cannot select more than 3 of those operatives combined. In terms of faction rules for the Tempestus Aquilons, their primary faction rule is going to be drop insertion. So when setting up a Tempestus Aqualon kill team before the battle, the first third of your kill team must be set up as normal, and then each third thereafter can be set up above. Place them to one side instead of in the kill zone. For each third that's not set up above, you must set up the whole third in this way. Then place one of your drop markers wholly within your drop zone. As a strategic gambit in the first and second turning point, you can move your drop zone markers up to 4 inches, measuring the horizontal distance only. In close quarters, this can be measured and moved through walls, so that's very interesting when you're playing on Into the Dark or Gallo Dark terrain. During the firefight phase, friendly Tempestus Aqualon operatives set up above are activated as normal. When you do, you can either expend or land that operative. If it lands, set it up in the kill zone in a location it can be placed as follows: within 3 inches of one of your drop markers, measuring the horizontal distance only, or wholly within your drop zone. Not within control range of an enemy operative, unless you're setting up a precursor operative, which can be set up within control range of an enemy operative, with no part of its base underneath vantage terrain, with an order of your choice. The operative is treating as performing the reposition action, spend the AP accordingly, then continue its activation as normal. It's obscured until the end of the next activation or the end of the turning point, whichever comes first. Less than half of your operatives can be set up above by the end of the first turning point. In other words, by the end of the first turning point, more than half of your operatives must have been set up in the kill zone during the battle. And when readying your operatives during the second and third turning points, remove one of your drop markers. This means operatives still set up above are incapacitated at the end of the second turning point. They also have grav shoot, so whenever a friendly Tempestus Aqualon operative is dropping, ignore the vertical distance. So a very interesting faction rule, unlike anything that we've seen in Kill Team 2nd Edition before. It's super interesting. I'm not sure how good it is, considering that you're only going to be moving your drop zone markers a maximum of 8 inches, I think, from your drop zone. And you can only drop these guys within 3 inches of that objective marker. There are some other things that we'll get into later on that can play around that and can increase those ranges. But yeah, it is interesting. So let's move on here to the strategy ploys. They have sudden offensive, count the number of friendly operatives that aren't incapacitated, then have the result rounding up to give you X. Until the end of their activation, friendly operatives' weapons have the balanced weapon rule. If they are the first friendly operatives activated, this turning point equal to X. For example, if you have 5 operatives, the first 3 friendly operatives activated will benefit. Maintain momentum. Whenever a friendly Tempestus Aqualon operative is shooting or fighting a ready enemy operative, its weapons have the severe weapon rule. That one I think is just good. I mean, you're more often than not you're going to want to attack your opponent's models that have not had the chance to activate yet, so I think that's a good one. Eye above, select one enemy operative, that operative and all other enemy operatives within 3 inches of it gain one of your detected tokens until the end of the turning point. Whenever an enemy operative with a detective token is shooting a friendly operative, you can reroll one of your defense dice. Is fighting or retaliating against a friendly operative, one of your blocks can be allocated to block 2 unresolved successes instead of 1. Lastly, they have drop and secure, so select one marker. Whenever determining control of that marker, treat the total APL stat of friendly Tempestus Aqualon operatives that can test it as 1 higher, as long as at least one friendly operative actually contests it. Whenever a friendly operative is within 3 inches of that marker, add 1 to the attack stat of its melee weapons to a maximum of 4. So that stat right there basically makes everybody on your team like a pseudo icon bearer, which is really interesting. You're going to have as much APL when it comes to contesting objectives as a Space Marine, so that's really interesting. For firefight ploys, they have Hot Drop. Use this firefight ploy after rolling attack dice for a friendly operative that landed during this activation. If the target is within 6 inches of it, you can reroll any of your attack dice. Ooh, man. That is really good. They have adjust coordinates. Use this firefight ploy when a friendly operative lands. You can set it up within 5 inches of one of your drop markers, measuring horizontal distance only, taking precedence over the normal distance requirement. It cannot perform the dash, fight, or shoot actions during this turning point. It's cool that you're getting all that extra movement. I mean, 5 inches is a lot, but not being able to perform the dash, fight, or shoot actions afterwards. I feel like every single time you're dropping somebody in with the drop insertion, you're going to want to be shooting, and this just doesn't feed into that play pattern. Tempestus Exemplars, use this firefight ploy during a friendly operative's activation, excluding Servo Sentry and any operative with an APL stat greater than 2. So that's going to include your Tempestor, since they are APL 3. During that activation, it can perform the pickup marker, place marker, or a mission action for 1 less AP. That is so good. Yeah, because it doesn't say till like a minimum of 1 or anything, so this just makes like your most normal like mission actions AP 0 effectively. That's awesome. Lastly, they have Progenia, so use this firefight ploy when a friendly Aqualon operative excluding Servo Sentry is activated. It regains 2d3 lost wounds, and during that activation you can ignore any changes to its APL stat. I don't know, we'll see. I mean like if you have the CP for it, why not? But I think you can. I think the big one here obviously is going to be Hot Drop and Tempestus Exemplars. Those both look like really good firefight plays that you're going to want to be budgeting for. So I'm going to get into the operatives themselves now, starting of course with the Aqualon Tempestor. So this is your leader model that you're always going to be taking. My preferred loadout for this particular model is the Relic Bolt Pistol and Chainsword. The Bolt Pistol is 4 attacks on 3s, damage 3/5, range 8. Most pistols in this game now are range 8, with lethal 5 up, which is very nice. Chainsword is 4 attacks on 3s, 4/5. The power weapon is 4 attacks on 3s, 4/6 with lethal 5, but since this is a model with a 4-up save, only 9 wounds, this isn't really one that I would be trying to get into melee combat with anybody. So just having the chainsword on it, just to parry it out, and having like a good pistol, I think is the way to go. For abilities, the Tempestor has Tempestus Veteran, so once per battle you can either use a firefight ploy for 0 CP if this is the specified operative, or the command reroll firefight ploy for 0 CP if this is the operative the attack or defense dice was rolled for. So that's cool. I mean, you can drop your Tempestor in, get a shot off with your Relic Bolt Pistol, and you can do the you can do the Hot Drop with it for free. That's pretty cool. It also has support, or excuse me, it has command, the command action for 1 AP. So support, select one other friendly operative excluding Servo Sentry, visible to and within 6 inches of this operative until the end of the operative's next activation. Add 1 to its APL stat. This model is also basically like your typical comm specialist. The operative cannot perform this action while within control range of an enemy operative. I'm torn between dropping this one in and, I mean, with that Tempestus veteran ability, it could also benefit from the Tempestus exemplars for free as well, where it can perform a mission action or a pickup place for 0 CP. Or I should say 1 less AP, and you wouldn't have to spend CP on that, so that's cool. Next we have the Aqualon Grenadier. Has a hotshot las pistol, the Melt-A-Bomb, which is the big thing here. 4 attacks on 3, damage 5/3, range 3 inches, devastating 3, heavy reposition only, so you can move 6 inches. You can make a normal reposition move and still attack with this. Limited 1, so you can only use this one, and piercing 2, which is effectively AP2 from the old edition or from 40k. Or excuse me, not at all like 40k. So your opponent's only going to be getting 1 defense dice against this attack. And with the crit damage being 3 and devastating 3, you're looking at a lot of damage coming in with this model. It has the Grenadier keyword, so this operative can use crack, smoke, and stun grenades. Doing so doesn't count towards any limited uses you have. Whenever this operative is using a frag or crack grenade, improve the hit stat of that weapon by 1. So this model is awesome. This is the one target that I would prioritize. What is it? Hot Drop? What is this one called? Yeah, Hot Drop. This is what I would use the Hot Drop Firefight ploy for the most. Almost always going to set this guy up above. Because whenever you drop in, you're going to be as having counted as making a normal reposition move. So you'll be able to drop in, target something within 3 inches of you, throw your Melt-A-Bomb at it, blow it up, and then with that hot drop ploy, you're going to be able to basically get a pretty good insurance policy where you can reroll any of your attack dice on that attack. So if you want to delete something, this is what your plan is. Next, we have the Aqualon Gunfighter. So it has 3 profiles, all for its hotshot las pistols. Focused, which is 4 attacks on 3s, damage 3/4, range 8, ceaseless, and rending. Hotshot las pistols Salvo, which is 4 attacks on 4s, 3/4, range 8, and salvo. Salvo is select up to 2 targets, shoot with this weapon against both of them in an order of your choice, roll each sequence separately. I feel like I would almost never do this, just because going from 4 attacks on 3s to 4 attacks on 4s is so bad. You're going to be scoring less hits, and you're going to be... I mean, you're getting an extra attack, but it has to be against 2... Oh no, it says select up to 2 valid targets. Shoot with this weapon against both of them in an order of your choice. So it doesn't give you an extra attack. Yeah, rules as intended, you're not getting an extra attack, you're getting another attack against a different target, I believe is the intent here. Lastly is Point Blank for the hotshot las pistols, which turns them into a melee weapon. 4 attacks on 3s, 3/4 with ceaseless. They also have the Gunfight ability. Whenever an enemy operative within 8 inches of this operative shoots this operative, keep track of each attack dice that's discarded as a fail. After the action, before incapacitated operatives are removed, including this one if relevant, this operative can perform a free shoot action, change its order to engage to do so, but it can only target that enemy operative with its hotshot las pistols focused, and you only roll a number of attack dice equal to the opponent's discarded attack dice plus 1 to a maximum of 4. Yeah, I mean, it's something. I don't think it's like game breaking or anything, but it's cool. Next up, we have the Gunner, which you can either take a Melta or Plasma with. The Melta is 4 attacks on 3s, damage 6/3, range 6, dev 4, piercing 1. The Plasma Carbine has 2 profiles. The standard one is 4 attacks on 3s, damage 4/6, piercing 1. The Plasma Carbine Supercharge is 4 on 3s, 5/6 with hot lethal 5 and piercing 1. Yeah, I mean, this is another good candidate for the hot drop firefight ploy. Just a, good overall model with good shooting. Next is the Aqualon Marksman. So this has got the Hotshot Long Las, which also has 3 different profiles. It's got the Concealed profile, which is 4 attacks on 2s, damage 3/3, Devastating 3, Heavy, Silent, and Concealed position. So with this profile, you would not be able to do your drop insertion with this model and shoot in the same turn because it doesn't have heavy reposition. It just has heavy. So can't move. Can't move at all if you want to shoot with this weapon, or with that profile, excuse me. And with concealed position, this operative can only use this weapon the first time it's performing the shoot action during the battle. You see this across a lot of different sniper type characters in this game now. Dev 3 is nice, so on crits you're going to be doing 6 damage. Very nice. Next is the mobile profile, so 4 attacks on 3s, 3/4. That's just your standard hotshot las carbine profile that the rest of this team has. There is the stationary profile, 4 attacks on 2s, 3/3 with devastating 3 and heavy. So just like the concealed profile, except it doesn't have silent and it doesn't have concealed position. Sniper's Vantage, whenever this operative is on vantage terrain and is shooting an operative that has an engage order and is at least 2 inches lower than it, all profiles of its hotshot long las have the severe weapon rule. Next we have the Precursor. This is an awesome model. It's armed with a las pistol, but its main weapon is going to be the Tempestus dagger, 4 attacks on 3s, 3/4 with lethal 5 up. It has Vicious Knife Fighter. Whenever this operative is fighting, after resolving your first attack dice, you can immediately revolve another before your opponent. That's very cool, so you're going to be able to hit twice if you roll like a crit and a hit, or 2 crits. And with lethal 5, that's highly probable compared to most other melee weapons. You can just do like 8 damage off rip and just one-shot something. That's really interesting. It has dynamic, so whenever this operative performs the fight or shoot action, it can immediately perform a free dash action afterwards. It can do so even if it performed the charge action during this activation, but can only use the remaining distance it had from that charge action to a maximum of 3 inches. So another super cool model. When you drop this one in, this one can be dropped within, I almost said engagement range, within control range of an enemy model. And then obviously you're in control range, you're the fighting model, you can fight, potentially do a lot of damage, kill a model outright, and then dash away. Now we have the Aqualon Servo Sentry. So this one can take 3 different weapons, the Flamer, the Grenade Launcher, or the Volley Gun. The Flamer is 4 attacks hitting on 2s, damage 3/3, range 8, saturate, and torrent 2. Next is the Grenade Launcher, which has a frag and a crack profile. The frag profile, 4 attacks on 4s, damage 2/4, blast 2. The crack profile, 4 attacks on 4s, 4/5, piercing 1. The Volley Gun focus profile is 5 attacks on 4s, 3/4 with piercing crits 1. Piercing crits, obviously you need a crit, and then you get piercing 1. The Hotshot Volley Gun sweeping profile, 4 attacks on 4s, 3/4, piercing crits 1, and torrent 1. It has the machine ability, so this operative cannot perform any actions other than dash, fallback, reposition, and shoot. It cannot retaliate, assist in a fight, or use any weapons that aren't on its data card, so it can't run up and throw a frag grenade or something like that. It has the turret ability, so this operative can perform 2 shoot actions during its activation. Lastly, we have the Aqualon Trooper. So they have a hotshot las carbine, 4 attacks on 3s, damage 3/4. They do have rapid insertion, So Strategic Gambit, in the first strategy phase, each friendly trooper operative wholly within your drop zone can immediately perform a free reposition action, but must finish that action wholly within 3 inches of your drop zone. So these operatives are going to be getting basically a free dash out of your drop zone, which is really cool. So the first third of your team that you have to deploy that's on the table, that is going to be like 3 troopers, realistically. They also have swift landing, so when this operative lands, you can set it up within 4 inches of one of your drop markers, taking precedence over the normal distance requirement. Even with that ability, I think just putting these guys in your deployment zone, not leaving them up above, is the way to go. But yeah, so that does it for the operatives. Let's take a look at their equipment now, because they have some pretty interesting faction equipment. We have Tempestus daggers, which everybody on the team gets except for the Servo Sentry. They get 3 attacks, hitting on 4s, damage 3/4. The combat stims, you can ignore any changes to the move stat of friendly Tempestus Aqualon operatives from being injured, so that's pretty good. They have drop augury, so once during the battle when a friendly Tempestus operative that's set up above is activated, before expending or landing that operative, you can move one of your drop markers again. However, it cannot be moved closer to your opponent's drop zone. I like this one, but the fact that it's like you're going to naturally want to move this closer towards your enemy's drop zone, because that's how you're going to get closer to the enemy. So having that limitation on it, I'm not sure how good that one's going to be. Lastly, we have Remote Overseer. So once during the battle, when rolling off to decide initiative, you can re-roll your d6. That's an auto take. So the way I think you're going to want to be running this team is you're going to want to have your 3 Aqualon Troopers as your first drop that you have to set up in your kill zone. I think even though the Aqualon Marksman has the concealed profile, you're still going to want to drop in with that operative. And that's just because you can drop it down turn 1 or 2 or turn 2 on like a vantage point that is somewhere within range of your drop marker, because remember, the drop marker, or when you drop in, you only measure the horizontal movement from the drop marker, not vertical distance. So you can drop him right on top of a vantage point just to give him the benefit of the sniper's vantage ability. And then you'll still be able to use that concealed profile for its first shooting attack. I think in most games that I'm going to be running personally, the team comp is going to be like everybody you can normally take, and then the marksman, the gunner with plasma, and the gunner with melta are going to be like my 3 of the 4. And I think I'm going to wind up leaving the Servo Sentry home most of the time. For its archetypes and in terms of like its tac op selection, I think Seek and Destroy is more often than not going to be the way to go. There's a lot of good operatives on this team that have hard-hitting weaponry that can kill a lot of stuff pretty easily. You have that hot drop ploy where you can, basically turn a lot of these models that are dropping into a delete button. So I think that's just a natural fit for them. In terms of the Seek and Destroy tac ops, I think in most games your best bet is going to be, let me take a look through these here. Storm Objectives, I think, is interesting because of the, not Tempestus Exemplars, but the Drop and Secure strategic ploy that gives all of your operatives counting as having 1 APL higher when it comes to contesting objectives. I think with Storm Objectives, that could be clutch. I think that's kind of easy to set up. Actually, I think the best of the Seek and Destroy options for this team is going to be Champion. Just because, I mean, you're gonna choose an operative to be your champion, and you're just gonna get points if that operative kills models and or or kills a model. 1 VP or 2 VP if the enemy operative it kills has a wound stat of 12 or more. And you select your champion each turning point. So it's not you choose like your champion, it's the champion for the whole game. You select it each turning point. So you can drop in your multi-gunner in. He drops in, he kills somebody, he dies. Well, it doesn't matter. He killed somebody, you're still going to get the points for it. Do it now with the with your Grenadier or your demolition guy, whatever the heck his name is. So yeah, I think this team is going to be like really mean into like Marines and stuff, honestly. There's a lot of piercing on this team. Yeah, I don't know. Time will tell how good this team is, but I think that's the way to run this team. Take Seek and Destroy, take Champion, drop in, kill something, get your points. But yeah, let me know what you guys think of the new Aqualon team down in the comments section below. If you guys like the video, make sure to hit that like button and make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of our upcoming future Kill Team content. Guys, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you all again in the next one.